My name is Lachlan Giles. I'm the head coach of Absolute Mixed Martial Arts in St Kilda in Melbourne, Australia. I'm really excited to present to you one of my favourite parts of my game, which is my half guard game. It really fits in as half of my overall game. And this half guard, when I say half guard, it's basically anything where I've got the leg, one leg trapped between my legs. So I'll just go through the layout of how this instructional is set out, which is going to help you navigate it better. So we're first going to introduce, when I first introduce a position, I'm going to go through the techniques, the things that I generally want to do from that position, and then go through what my opponent would want to be doing from there. Then we'll go through some of the concepts that are important to understand to use that position. After that, we'll go through the main techniques I can do in detail, and then there's going to be a lot of troubleshooting. So, problems that will occur when you're trying to do these particular techniques. Then at the end, I'll have a little section on linking the techniques together. And throughout, if I've got any rolling or competition footage that I can put in after I show a technique or how to deal with a particular problem, I'll chuck that in just after the video as well, so you can see me applying it live. So for me, the best way to run an instructional is to have it so you can do your problem solving really well. So you can go and try a technique, and then when you want to fix a problem you're having when you're trying it in training, you can come straight back to the instructional and locate exactly where your problem is and what to do from there. So that's why I'm going to be really naming the particular chapters based on the problems you might be encountering, so it's easy for you to navigate straight to it. To me, there's nothing worse than having a problem with a certain sweep, for example, going to an instructional, having to watch the whole 2 hours again just to find that one detail I want. So I want it so that you can come back and instantly find that issue. So there's a lot of content on this instructional series, and like if you try to watch it all at once, you just it's not going to work. I really want you to do focus on a particular area, learn one move from there, and then you'll have problems doing that move. I want you to come back, once you have that problem, come back, you should be able to easily find it, solve that problem from what's going on, from how I've explained the particular position. Go back, try it again, encounter other problems, and hopefully I'll put a lot of content on there. I really think just about every question I've been asked about these positions I've answered in this series. So in this, I'm basically going to try to explain something once. I don't see the point in me repeating the same move 5 times in a row. It all should be there and as I go through it once, and then we can show a faster version just to see how it looks when we actually do it fast. Alright, so this instructional is going to be based around my half guard game. So what I mean by that is I've basically split my guard game into 2 separate types of guard. One is when their leg is between my legs, which is the half guard, and the other one is when I get their legs more towards the outside, so I'm winning the inside space, and that's my butterfly X and single X game. So there's a lot of different half guards we're going to cover in this series, which I'll go over in a moment. So there is a lot of content on this, and it is focused on the half guard, but I don't want you to just, I didn't want to limit it to just trying to keep everything in the half guard. Like I wanted to also say when I will change out of the half guard to go to other things such as butterfly or single X. There's certain times when someone is blocking these half guard attacks really well where we do have to change. So we'll explain when that is the case as well. This series, if whether Tim's here, like this, we're going to cover basically whenever Tim's leg is trapped between my legs, like this. So this is a half guard here. He could be standing like this. I can be here with the legs still between my legs. He can be here. So there's a lot of different variants of half guard that we're going to cover. I'm just going to quickly go through the sweeps, then I'll go a little more detail into what some of those variants of the half guard are. So if Tim's down on his knees, we've got the basic underhook style sweep from half guard, like this. We have the roll under, like so. We have the single leg, we're standing up with the leg. have a modified X guard, so when we can get underneath the far leg to start trying to get up. We've got the invert, where it can spin underneath. And we've got some overhead sweeps as well. So go down on your knees, where we can pull through and go over the top with that. So these sort of sweeps and attacks are going to mix together kind of, there's going to be a lot of different positions we'll cover, but these are pretty common themes throughout our half guard attacks. So I'm going to run through some positions that we want to get to while we're in our any of these half guard variants. So where do we want to end up, apart from obviously just getting the sweep itself? Where's another good position to actually get to? Okay, so first of all, if I do have half guard, I want to have my knee shield here. Okay, so this is what I call the knee shield half guard, where I've got good frames blocking Tim here like this. If he stands up, anytime you can get underneath a leg. So if I am able to get underneath the leg like this, we'll call this like a modified X guard because it's slightly different to your regular X guard, but anytime I can get under that leg, that's a beneficial position. The position we call the waiter sweep, where I'm going to swing this leg out and come underneath here, okay? Anytime we can get to here, I've got a good chance at, and a few attacking opportunities from here. We've got reverse De La Riva, so if Tim stands up, I've got my hook here, like this, preventing the knee cut pass, and I'm blocking Tim from attacking from here. We've got sit-up guard, which obviously gives us a good chance at doing the single leg takedown. Another control that's common that we can use, instead of the high knee shield like before, we can use a Z guard where we cross our feet to use our legs to block and prevent Tim from driving forward like so. A big focus is going to be about getting the underhook here like this, around the hip, okay? So if we can get the underhook, this is a really good position. Even if whether we're here or sometimes Tim is going for the knee through as well, there's another position we're going to work the underhook from. We're going to spend a little bit of time going over defending when they try to backstep. So if Tim goes to go back, how we can deal with when he's going here. And they've got a few options there to work towards the back or get the sweep. So this is another position we're going to cover. It's called the dogfight. Often when we're coming up from some of our sweeps, we end up in this particular position where I'm trying to get Tim down and he's trying to prevent that or get me back down. All right. Lastly, another control that we want to get is the Kimura. So anytime in half guard that you're able to fully lock up a Kimura, you've got a good chance at having a successful attack or finish of your opponent. We'll go over some of the options we've got from there. All right, another position here. This is not where I want to be, but it's something that often Tim will be looking to get towards this position. It's called headquarters, where still I've got the one leg trap, but he's starting to pressure here. We'll go through a little bit about our options on how to deal with this, as well as some other common attacks such as the knee cut. And where we're going to start from is really how to get out of some of these bad positions. So when he's starting to get the crossface underhook, flatten me out, how do we get back to our useful half guard scenarios? So I want to talk about what position, like the hierarchy of these positions and which ones I want to get to first. So what's the best possible outcome and which positions am I using more defensively than offensively? So if Tim's standing here like this, like to me ideal here is I get the seated guard and I'm on the side here like this. This is a really good positioning for me here like this. I would rather, if Tim's standing, like my least favorite position to end up in would be reverse De La Riva, okay? Which is still obviously a good position, but this to me is a little more defensive. I'm often looking from there to get back up and get my position. There are attacks we can do from reverse De La Riva, but I would rather be attached to the leg from seated. At the same time though, if we go back a moment, I'd probably rather have any of these positions we're talking about, it's kind of, I'm aiming to have control from there. So right now I have no control of the scenario because no one's attached. So I'd still rather be in reverse De La Riva than here with no attachment at all. Because at least then, once I've got here, I have some control over Tim and I can use that to start setting up my attacks better. Okay? But preferably, I would be up and on the side than playing reverse De La Riva. When Tim is down on his knees, I would much rather, well, probably the best position is actually to me, would be up into the dogfight already. Okay, so I'm already here, he's on his knees, I'm already really close to getting the sweep or taking the back. Next to that, I really think having the underhook is a massive advantage for me here. And more defensively would be the knee shield. So if Tim's managed to push me back, I would still rather have this control, again, than not have any control over Tim at all, than just being, I'd rather have knee shield than just being here, for example, if he's on his, yeah, go on your knees. Like I'd rather not be here if I can get into the knee shield. That's at least some control, but it would be better if I did have the underhook. Lastly, let's just quickly talk about any time you can get underneath their legs. So I'll say the waiter sweep is a version of that, and also the to single X, you should. Okay, so basically anytime we go back to the waiter sweep, anytime we get a chance to get like right underneath here like this, I've got a really good chance of finishing from here. For me, this is one of the high percentage positions to finish from. Similar if Tim was standing and we could get to the single X. Because I'm right underneath his base, this is a high percentage finishing position as well. So we are looking to get underneath. We want to get attached. Probably out of all the positions we're going to work, the ones that are a bit more defensive are the reverse De La Riva and the knee shield. Anything else we have a much higher chance of attacking from. So when we are in reverse De La Riva or the knee shield, we are actively trying to upgrade our position at the same time as we're trying to attack from those positions. I want to quickly talk about why it's better to have a seated position when we're engaging in our first grip battle than being flat on our back. Okay, so if Tim's here reaching for grips, I guess I would much rather be seated than on my back here like this. Why? Because when I'm on my back, like hands are generally a lot better at getting grips than legs, especially like for control, as a first grip. So you can see if I'm here like this, it's much more likely Tim controls my legs than my legs are able to actually control Tim. I might get a hook like this, for example, or like this, but it's pretty likely he can clear that and actually win the first grip battle. And then I'm fighting from a more defensive position if I start on my back. Whereas if I can stand up, it's a bit more even, this grip battle now. Now I can hand fight and I can be looking to get the first grip, whether it's on the leg or even just gripping the hands. Like this becomes a battle, and I can use I don't want Tim to get control of my legs, so I can be using like my forward posture to have my hands blocking my leg. My hands can be in front, making that difficult as I start to reach and attach from my own grips. So that's why I would rather be seated from an uninitiated position than lying on our back. So we're going to go through entries into the half guard. So how do I actually get into, from certain positions, how do I actually get into attach myself to some of these half guard positions? One of the most common ones that I want to look for is when Tim is standing like that. I want to look to either get shin on shin, which is a separate topic that's not related to today, but it's a way to attach myself to the leg. So if I'm here, I can hook my shin like this to stop Tim from being able to step back, okay? Just for a moment, okay? He can obviously clear that hook if I give him time, but I'm gonna hook and reach, okay? As soon as I've got the grip around the neck, I can then take my leg out and we're into the seated sit-up guard position. So this is a common attack here. Obviously, there's some attacks we can do from the shin on shin, as I said, but that's not going to be content that's in this instructional. Okay, so we can use that hook to get to the leg and come through. Or sometimes when moving around, I might have my legs a little wider and I see the chance to just move in and catch the leg like that. Okay, so that's one way we can enter and force some of these half guard positions. if another common scenario, Tim might, either I'm on my back for whatever reason, yeah, or Tim's pushed me back from being seated like this, and he's going to come in for the knee cut pass. Okay, this is a really common pass. This is a common entry. So he's going for a good position. The way I'm going to prevent that or get into the half guard or a favorable position is I'm going to hook into reverse De La Riva here like this. So again, my inside leg is going to hook around the thigh as Tim comes into this position, okay? This prevents him from getting an effective knee cut pass, and my left foot will go on the hip, and I'm getting a nice positioning here, ready to start some attacks. So sometimes I'll be on I'm on my back, or maybe Tim's pushed me back, and then instead of going right knee across this way, he's come for the near side knee through, okay? So what we want to do when that's the case, when he goes for the near side knee through, is get our outside hook here to block that. If we can get this early enough, this is the De La Riva hook, this is really good. Now, I'm not going to really spend much time at all on De La Riva. I don't think in no-gi it's a strong attacking position. All we're going to do, if we do get De La Riva, is try to use this to get back to our seated guard. So I'm going to kick Tim's leg like this. I'm holding on to his knee here. I'm going to kick his leg, sit up, and I'm going to force myself into that seated guard position here. So again, if Tim starts trying to drive his knee through this way, I'm going to get my outside hook, grab the leg, kick. I usually use my right hand, left hand, and I'm back into a seated guard position where I can force my half guard again. Once more, Tim. So how we use our De La Riva hook, the aim of this is I want to basically control the ability of Tim to drive forward at me, but also of his ability to retract and move away as well. So when we get our outside De La Riva hook, we need to understand how Tim can clear this hook. Usually, if he's able to get his knee to face out towards to my left, now I can't hook anymore. So we need to be actively working against that. And also, generally, if he straightens his leg as well, it's hard to hook a straightened leg. Okay, so what I'm doing when I hook, I come around, I want to get my toes on the inside. It's a weird motion, it's hard to actually describe, but I'm curling my knee towards me and pushing in a bit. So imagine I wanted to bend Tim's knee and rotate it in a little bit. Okay, that's the two opposite motions to how he was clearing it. Okay, remember he was trying to straighten it and turn it out. So I'm actually trying to use my knee here, curling towards me and pulling in a bit like this. Now, you might find that you lose a bit of tension with your foot as you do that. So at the same time, I'm actually kind of kicking, like my toes are going in this angle. So I'm actually trying to like pull my knee in towards me like this, and also like trying to kick that way. You won't actually see him move when I do that, but that's where the pressure is applied, like this, okay? And I'm holding on like that. So now what this does, as Tim tries to turn the knee out, much more difficult, a little more difficult for him to straighten the leg. I can be grabbing onto the leg. So when Tim tries, even just with this hook, if Tim tries to run backwards or move away, I'm stuck, okay? If he tries to pressure in, this will also work pretty well, because you can see where my foot is. I can be like kicking up and extending. It doesn't let his weight come into me. It makes his weight come over the top, which is generally not what he wants to do. He wants to like collapse me in and squash here like this. But if I'm keeping an upward pressure there, it helps to stop that, okay? Again, we're not trying to use this to too much in no-gi to like go for Berimbolo. That's kind of hard to do from here. But what we can do is get this hook secure, make sure they can't get their knee down to the near side knee through, make sure they can't clear our hook, and we can kick their free leg and use that to get back up. when someone's kneeling down, it can be difficult to get into the half guard here because it's not always easy. If we actually turn a little bit to face the camera, you can see it's not always easy to get your foot through and actually be able to connect any sort of solid connection here. So what I find trying to attach to the half guard like this, I'm extending myself, and Tim can potentially like flick outside the legs and take advantage of the fact that my legs have really extended through there. So if you want the half guard from against someone who's kneeling, I don't recommend extending your legs and having that as the main thing to attack. When my legs are out here, again, Tim has access to control my legs, which are my most important thing to actually control him with. So instead, if we want to get the half guard for someone who's kneeling, I strongly recommend working the upper body frames first, even with my legs, and then working from there to find an angle to get into the half guard. So if I'm here, I'm going to frame against Tim's neck, hand on the shoulder here, flaring my elbow. So when Tim starts to drive forward at all, that's difficult for him to do. From here, when I've got this frame good, I'm happy to move onto my side and start trying to get my top leg framing against this shoulder. Okay. Now, because I've got control of his upper body, it's not the end of the world if he starts trying to move laterally. In fact, anytime he moves, he will give me a gap to shoot my bottom leg through, and I've now got a good knee shield half guard position. So if I'm Tim on top, if I'm on top here, when I want to move, I can't really move and keep this gap closed. When I want to move to the side, I will open a gap. So that's the timing I'm looking for. If Tim's kneeling, I'm here like this, I come in, I get my top frame, so that if he does try to pass, everything's blocked, okay? I'm not extremely worried about that. I'm keeping my right leg tight. When he does go to move, he gives me that gap to shoot my foot in, okay? So this is the way we try to attack the half guard if we've got a kneeling opponent. There is one other way as well, which we'll go through in a moment. The other way I like to enter the half guard is by going for butterfly guard first. To be honest, this is my, like I'm a kneeling opponent, going for butterfly is my preferred first option. It is beyond the scope of what we're covering in this series, but I will use it keeping tight, working towards getting my two hooks in, okay? Again, don't do this and extend your legs without being able to have your feet engaged, okay? So I need to have my hands blocking Tim's entry at my legs, like this. So we're hand fighting as I'm moving in, okay? Head positioning is really important for this because I want to get the underhook here first. Tim is going to be putting his head low. I need to get my head underneath Tim's head and start trying to work for the underhook from here. So you can see, as he's battling his head, it's giving me a chance with my left hand to get the underhook. Let's look at that from. So I'm here battling, I've got my head in, and that's giving me a chance here to take the underhook. Nice and high at first, and then I can start scooting out towards this side. So I will briefly talk about the threat of the butterfly sweep, which will also allow us to go for the half guard. But now I'm going to start scooting out towards my left. We've got the underhook, I want to get out to the same side, like this. Yeah? So if we look at this now from this angle, I'm square on, I get that left underhook, I can start to scoot my hips out to the side. Now from here, I have really good positioning to start working the butterfly sweep here. If Tim is really far back, so stay low, I'm struggling to get him forward, often, I've already got the underhook, I can actually turn that into a half guard sweep as well. So I'm going to switch into the underhook half guard. My foot is going to push Tim's foot out like this. My inside foot will open the gap I'll take my butterfly hook out and I'll switch over. Okay, let's have a look at that from the other side, or from the back maybe. You know, face. So, I've gone head underneath, high butterfly hook, and I scoot around the corner. Tim's low and back, I can't elevate him. So what I'm going to do, my right foot is going to push his leg open. Now I have access to trap the leg in the half guard. Let's go back one step. Hide that again. I can't trap the half guard here. It's not going to work. So I have to use my inside foot to open it. Just remember, I've still got my butterfly hook. If I feel he changes his balance, I can still try to sweep with this, especially if I'm controlling this arm. Okay? But by opening this foot, it gives me a chance to switch, and I'm now into a good position to start attacking the underhook half guard sweep. Okay, so let's just have a look at how we fight the initial grip fight for when someone's standing. What positions do I want to get first, and how do I react to when Tim uses different approaches? Okay, so obviously if there's no grips and I get to move first, I'm really aiming to attach to the leg as quick as I can, maybe with a shin to shin, or maybe around the corner to get up for the seated guard. But when Tim's trying to block, there's usually two ways he's going to either approach it. He's either going to step in with his leg first, like this, or he's going to step in with his hands first, more like trying to tilt me backwards. Okay, and we have to respond to these a little bit differently. If the leg comes first, our first thing, if you can, we want to go to the seated guard on the side. So especially if the knee's not driving forward, immediately we're going to try and get around the corner and we're ready to come up for our seated guard single leg. Whereas if Tim's stepped forward to the inside of my leg and his knee's more driving forward, we're immediately going to be looking to often put a hand on the mat, scoot back and get the shin to shin, and we can do our attacks from the shin to shin. So that's if the leg's leading. We basically either get single leg from seated guard, or we go shin to shin and look for the single leg X. Now I'll just show that bit. So here we go, knee forward again. We often look to get this, and then we come in through to single leg X. Okay. If Tim's more leading with his hands, often people push first, so I can't. Am I going to get the leg here? Not immediately. Okay, so when that happens, I tend to try to control the back of the elbows. Once I get the back of the elbows, Tim's committed to this. He can't run or try and run away from me. Okay, that keeps me attached. And it's going to let me get my legs in position to get a good guard. Okay, so from there, so as Tim pushes me, I tend to control back so that he can't run away, and I get my good positioning. Now, because Tim's come in more across this way, I will go to the reverse de la Riva. So again, if the knee's tending to trend this way, or if I'm falling to my right, I get the reverse de la Riva. But sometimes he'll push and have the knee going across this way, across towards this side, or like a near side knee through. So Sometimes he'll push and he's gonna go here. There, I will go outside De La Riva, so standard De La Riva, like this, okay? Foot hooked here, other foot on the hip. Now from here, I don't find this a great attacking position from guard, so I would tend to grab the leg, kick, and come back up to the seated position. So it's basically been a way for me to now get an attachment to the leg. Again, if Tim pushes me, I'm now attached to the leg. You can't pull that leg away because of my hook. I hold it with my hand, push, and I'm able to now get back up into my seated guard position. So there are our options, and this is actually not a bad drill. You have Tim there, and he's either going to push with his hands or step with his leg. You push with his hands, I get met with De La Riva. Right, step with his leg, I go to seat. Okay. He steps with his leg forward sometimes. If I can't now get around the corner, from here, I'm going to get shin to shin and go to single X, or he might lead with his leg, but across. And that's where we're going to go to outside De La Riva, push, get our seated guard again, and now we're attached to them.